I get my Laker hat.
Oh yeah. I guess we can start now. Metta, thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Seeing you wearing the Laker cap, once a Laker, always a Laker, huh?
I mean, it's an honor. I'm just so grateful to have that badge.
When you talk about that badge, I'd like you to talk about how you came up with that description, the badge of having being a Laker.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much something that is is spoke about. You hear it a lot from within the organization. You heard it with a lot over the years. You see a lot of the players that came by, and for me, it was a little bit unique because when I came to the Lakers, it was I was just a part of an already championship team, and then when you get here and you become a part of history, and then also you see like Robert Ory will come around. You'll see AC Green will come around. James Worthy's working within the organization and doing television, right? Shaq will come around every now and then, right? So it was really cool just to kind of see how the Laker family kind of got together.
And what surprised you or what shocked you the most?
I think what shocked me the most was when anyone and Magic also Magic Johnson and Byron Scott was actually coaching, so he wasn't around as much. But Magic was around a lot. But when you see how people are just, it's not a surprise to see one of the greats come back to a game, and then the Staples Center or within the organization are embracing, the former players and even former staff members, right? So when you see that, it was really surprising to see the family type of atmosphere that it was.
It's amazing you mentioned the family kind of atmosphere because I remember when you first came here, they said, "Oh wow, he's a great player, but he's kind of rough around the edges," and they were talking about how you just kind of molded yourself and your image to fit in with what the Laker image was and is.
Yeah, I was having a good time. I mean, basketball is a great game, and I mean, when you have an opportunity to play the game, you got to take advantage of it. And that's what I was trying to do. You put a lot of work in over the years, and then to one day win a title, against the Celtics. But what a coincidence that was, right? So I was just so grateful.
And speaking of the Celtics and winning the championship against them, I remember being at that game, and I remember late in the contest, Kobe throwing you the ball for a three-pointer when you thought Kobe should have shot the ball.
Well, on that play, you had Derek Fisher open in the corner, and I think he was being guarded by Ray, and Ray kind of took the vision away from the passing lane, away from Derek and Kobe. Lamar was in the right corner. You had Powell was underneath the basket. So Paul Pierce, he went off of me. So Kobe just made the right play at that time.
And you were at the press conference, you were telling us how surprised you were that Kobe threw you the ball, and you said, "Hey, I might as well shoot it," and you did.
I know. And actually, it was more just trying to stay in rhythm with Coach Phil Jackson's offense. Is all about staying in rhythm. It was a lot of times where Coach Brian Shaw would say, "Keep shooting because it's in rhythm," even when I felt out of rhythm. So I wanted to make sure that I just did everything within rhythm.
Was that the highlight of your career with the Lakers?
Uh, that was one of the highlights of my career, and for me personally, Defensive Player of the Year was a highlight. Being a third team All NBA was a big highlight for me. First team All Defense twice was a big highlight for me. The championship was a big highlight. The Citizenship Award was a big highlight. Doing 17 years was also a big highlight.
Because you've always been one that wants to give back to the community. And you mentioned the Citizenship Award. I know that's way up on the list as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, the Citizenship Award means so much to me because when I first came into the NBA, I always wanted to do positive things. I always wanted to give back, to our communities and back to the game. And with that Citizenship Award, it just validated the type of person that I was trying to be.
Because you went through we all go through ups and downs, and you had yours both on and off the court as well, didn't you?
Absolutely. Just such a passionate kid, a kid that, had a dream and really reached those dreams and brought a story with him.
Because now when you go out and you talk to young people, you can tell them, "Hey, listen, I know what I'm talking about. I've been there and done that, and I survived. So that gives them hope, doesn't it?
I think so, especially a lot of kids that love basketball that really don't have outlets is always amazing. And I always feel honored that I'm able to speak to kids in the language, that they are used to hearing, and it's coming from someone who's been through what they've been through.
Metta, what was your thought process in changing your name?
The thought process was really do something special, create your own lane, set your own narrative. And with world peace at that time, a lot of different things was happening with different countries, not agreeing with each other. And I just thought that I wanted to kind of change the mood a little bit and kind of keep that in people's mind.
I remember being at the courthouse that day for the name change. And I remember how emotional you were because that was one of the defining days, not only in your career, but really in your life.
It was, that's a big move to change your name, and knowing you have children with your initial or your previous last name. It was a big move for me, and I thought that it was something that I needed to do personally, and I really enjoyed it.
Was it like a rebirth?
I don't know if it was a rebirth, but it definitely was really cool to me. I just felt like the name Metta means so many really amazing things. Even when you look at the different shades of color, has so many amazing meanings. Often you'll see color be associated with negative things, especially within our environment that we are in today. But color has so many good meanings. Words has so many good meanings. When you can attach it to yourself, I just think that's really cool.
When you talk about the environment that we are in today, how important is the world of sports in helping us get through these dark times?
I think sports is very important. I know when I was a kid, I always used sports as an outlet. And especially right now, I think not only should we be watching sports, we should be playing sports. And you don't have to play sports to be the best and to go out there and hurt yourself, right? You should just go out there and get out there with the community and go play some tag or frisbee or softball or baseball, right? Sports is always a really good outlet.
Then how do you feel knowing that you are part of Laker lore, that you are part of this great tradition of being a Laker? Because the Lakers are known not only for a great basketball team in the country, but really around the world. So you could wear that Laker cap, in some other country, and people would recognize it and probably recognize you as well.
Yeah, I think it's really cool just coming from New York City and coming from Queens, the borough of Queens, to be able to win a title with the Lakers, knowing that people love sports. I love sports. I mean, it's just such an honor, to be able to say that. So many of my friends are Laker fans, even being from New York City, and to be able to win it there and go back home, really cool.
When people call you a Laker legend, do you get goosebumps?
It's actually a little overwhelming because I had a big moment, and obviously the championship is the pinnacle, the highlight of basketball and of sports. But with that being said, I do get a little overwhelmed at times because you look at real legends, they've been with the Laker uniform multiple years, they won multiple titles. And I always like kind of put them first. I don't think I'm a Laker legend. I think I had a really big moment.
When you changed your name, your teammates were all for it, weren't they?
Yeah, a lot of people was all for it. Some people really didn't understand it, but people kind of understood that I was already on a journey, just being one of the elite players in the NBA, going on a journey and having the support of the players, and even hearing players call me Metta, I was like, that's really cool because I've been on a journey prior to that, maybe the past 11 seasons before I changed my name. I was on a big journey.
Can you talk a little bit about that journey and the roller coaster ride that it was before you got here with the Lakers?
Absolutely. I think the journey was amazing. I think just playing basketball with that amount of passion and then wanting everyone to see every single color that you were, good or bad, and just exposing that. I thought that was really beautiful, when I look back at it, to be that vulnerable and to be that open, to people. When I look back at it, I think it's really cool to see and and everybody has, you know, different shades of color. They're open and vulnerable in different ways. I was open in a, you know, more of a outspoken way, and a little bit vital on the court, and everybody's really different.
You know, Meta, listening to you talk like that, you're talking like an artist, and you're painting this picture because you and as I'm watching you and listening to some of the things that you're saying, I'm seeing all these flashbacks of things that you have done throughout your career, you know, good, bad, and indifferent, and how you have overcome all of those, and how you have, you know, suppressed all of those things for the better good.
Yeah, it's really true. You know, I always wanted to be an open book. I always thought people should know my story, and I think I told it so much. I kind of want to set a different narrative, you know, moving forward. But I felt like people have a real clear understanding on, you know, where I was from and different things like that. And, you know, now I just want to paint more pictures versus trying to relive those moments.
Because a lot of times people think that they may be misunderstood. Do you think that maybe at one time you were misunderstood just a little bit?
I don't think misunderstood. I wouldn't want to say that because, you know, just the places that we're from is no misunderstanding. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but a lot of people are fighting for rights and different things that affected me as a child. So it's definitely no misunderstanding.
You're at a good place in your life right now because you know the impact that you have on our young people, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we had constant impact on the young people, and we want to continue to be there for them. I feel like we're in a good spot, you know, right now in the country. Not everyone's happy, but when you look at where we want to go as a people moving forward, um, I think we're in a good spot.
So there really is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely, all the time, all the time. Sometimes when you're going through things and you're in the trenches of your life, it doesn't seem that way, right? It seems like in 5 years it's going to be the same as it is right now, depending on what you're going through. But you know, when you talk about your lifespan, when you talk about time, you know, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Meta, what do you think we have learned this last year about ourselves, about our society because of what we've gone through with the pandemic and with the social injustice situations?
Well, you know, I think with the pandemic and the social injustice situation, I think what, you know, in regards to the pandemic, you know, I think it's very important that people in different communities learn more about, you know, anything biotech, health, medicine, science. Very, very important. So everyone is aware and understand how to handle these situations, you know, and it's a diverse opinion on the different, you know, these different viruses that are going to be coming. And it was here before, and it probably come more in the future. So I think it's really important to educate yourselves, raise your children to be scientists, raise your children to be in bio. You know, if they don't want to, fine. But if you can get a couple, that'd be amazing. Um, and I think in terms of social justice, same thing. I think it's very important. Sorry, I think it's very important that, you know, with the social justice, social injustice, that we are having more of our people involved in law enforcement, on public service, and different things like that, and economics and politics, with non-bias, with no agendas, you know, with a pure heart. And I think that's really important. And I also think it's important that we forgive, which I'm not a big guy on forgiving, but you know, I do think it's important because there are a lot of people that are forgiven. And I just think we got to try to get through this together. I know lots of people who've done lots of bad things um, at the same level that we've seen on television, right? So, with that being said, like, how do we just get through this? You know, how do you reach out to someone and say, okay, I definitely don't agree with what you do and how you think, but I understand it because somebody had to teach you that. So with that being said, you know, you got to give people an opportunity to express themselves without hiding it. Because and it's kind of weird, but we often tell ourselves, seek therapy, don't hold it in. But if someone is, let's say someone commits a racist act, why is that person racist, right? Do we not want to hear why? If we don't want to hear why, then we can't expect tomorrow to change. We got to expect tomorrow to be a big fight. That's what's going to happen. But if we don't want the big fight, if we want change, then we got to give these platforms for people to express themselves. Like, Meta, were you, why are you how you are? Why were you so vital in the NBA? Okay, let me explain myself. And then I'm forgiven, right? And, people that do 20 years in prison, for different things, they come out, bad things, right? A bad thing is a bad thing. And I think we do deserve to vent as a people right now. I think that's much deserved after what we've been through. But I think on the flip side, we gotta let people vent, say how you feel, and then after you say how you feel, good or bad, let's move forward.
Metta, what are some of the projects that you're working on right now, not only in athletics, but just to help your fellow mankind?
Well, before I never was a big fan of business, honestly. I was a big fan of defense. I was a big fan of working on my defense. I was a big fan of philanthropy. Even when I was in the trenches and going through all the stuff I was going through in NBA, I was still giving scholarships to kids. Didn't really know what a 501c3 was at the age of 19. I was paying for colleges. Started Excel University. Started Excel University. Did a lot of great things. Was involved in mental health awareness back in 2005. Without any attention. And that was my focus. Raffled off my championship ring, raised 671,000. I thought that was a lot, but I was like, wow, it's not enough. And I thought after I raffled off that ring that I can go to corporations and different people and have them donate money to Excel University. That's what it was called. Now it's called Artest University. Because you see what I'm doing. I'm giving back to the people that need this help. But it wasn't that easy. So I decided to give up and just focus on business and then start to use profits, from the businesses that we started in investments and then put a portion back into philanthropy. So that's what we've been focusing on. And every business that I try to start, I try to have embedded social impact. So you can see X First X Sports behind you. It's embedded social impact involved in there. And more than just pushing my foundation these days, I try to work with other foundations now because I figured if I can help 20 to 100 foundations help them get the word out, it's better than me just helping my sole foundation. So that's what I'm doing kind of overall.
Yeah. You see, that's why you are a Laker at heart, and that's why you are a Laker legend. Everything that you talked about helping your fellow mankind is exactly what the Lakers have been doing all the time, ever since Dr. Buss bought them, eons and eons ago. He put this in their minds. You want to be great basketball players, but you also want to help in the community and your young people. So that's why you're a Laker legend. It's easy to say that to you and about you.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.